All right, hi girls. This is Miss Hanley. This is our first virtual lesson. Today you will read and find the main idea of serving the cause. To get you prepared for the lesson, you will need the following items. You will need the serving the cause text in the DCPS packet. You will also need a pen or a pencil, an extra paper for your four square model. Our distance learning inquiry question is: how did women contribute to the fight for independence, and how should they be remembered? Let's review our learning target slash objective for today. Our learning target is: I can determine the main idea of serving the cause by finding the gist of sections of the text. Let's focus in on a couple of keywords from our target. Our keyword one is main idea. We know main idea is what this text is mostly about. And a new one is gist. Gist is very similar, but you're just focusing on small chunks of a text in order to figure out the general idea of the text. Now let's go on for morphology. Take about a minute and a half to start setting up your four square model, including main idea, details, vocabulary, and point of view. All right, now let's dive into just this section of our model. We're going to focus on three vocab words. Our first word is siege. Siege is a military blockade of a city to make it surrender. So, in other words, you are trying to get the other team to quit. Two other words you should be familiar with are loyalist, and that's someone who remained faithful to the king. And our last word is patriot, meaning they were a rebel and they disliked the king. Now let's get started with our lesson. Here's a quick stop and jump just to activate some prior knowledge. Why might someone choose to support a cause even when personal safety may be at risk? Go ahead and take about 10 to 30 seconds to write your answer either on a post it note or on a sheet of paper. All right, so for today's lesson, we're going to do two reads. Our first read, we are going to focus on explaining how women were involved. So for this time, you'll get about 6 minutes to set aside for yourself. You will need, again, your graphic organizer for your four square model, a reminder of how we annotate our text. You should be underlining major points, circling keywords or words you don't understand, questioning things that you have trouble with, and also writing in the margins. Remember, as you're reading, I want you to focus on how women helped with the American Revolutionary War. So take about 6 minutes. When you're ready, come back. Now that you have read our text, we're going to focus on one text dependent question. Remember, your first read, you were focusing on explaining how women helped with the American Revolutionary War. Our question is: why was Emily Gager still able to deliver a message to Patriot troops even though she had been stopped by enemy troops? Answer choices: she escaped the British guards. Loyalists helped her find the Patriot troops. She had memorized the message so the British did not find a note on her. Or the British planted their own message on Geiger and forced her to deliver it. Now, when I went back in the text, I noticed that she did not escape. They just let her go, so I can cross that out. I also noticed it did not mention anything about the Patriot troops. So I'm going to cross that one out. She memorized the message. I do remember seeing this keyword, memorizing the message, like eating it and ripping it up when they did find her. So I think that might be the answer. Let's check D just to make sure. The British planted their own message. No, that didn't say anything about that. So we can conclude that C is our correct answer. She had memorized the message, so the British did not find a note on her. Now, for our second read, I will be reading but focusing on one particular paragraph. So, again, you will need your organizer as well as your text. And this time, your purpose is to find the main idea of the text by identifying the gist of a paragraph. So, let's focus on this paragraph. What is the gist of this paragraph? Remember, when we talk about the gist, it doesn't need to be complete sentences. It can be key words or notes as long as it explains what it's mostly about. And I picked this one because it does focus on the majority of the text. Let's read. Women were not allowed to serve in George Washington's Continental Army. So I'm going to underline that. That tells me kind of the why of the text or what. So we're going to put what. This tells us what is going on, and that kind of tells us who. But evidence shows that at least 4 women became part of the fighting force. So this is like cause and effect. Even though they weren't allowed, there were at least some who did join. Boys as young as 14 joined the army. So a woman could wear loose clothing and pretend she was a boy. That's interesting. I'm going to put an exclamation point. One woman from Maine joined up with her brother in 1775. I know that dates are super important, so I'm going to circle that because that might be important for later. She served until the war ended in 1781. In 1776, an unidentified Cherokee woman was found dead on a battlefield. Remember, Cherokee are about the Native Americans. I'm going to write Native American. I'm going to put N.A for Native Americans, just so I know, okay, that's who they're talking about. She wore face paint like male Cherokee warriors did, and she had a bow and arrow. So this is actually telling me that she really wasn't, in fact, a Cherokee woman, but she pretended she was so that she could participate in the war. So let's put this all together for our gist. So now my gist is, during the 1770s, women helped serve in the war by fighting in battles even though they were not allowed. Notice how I just kind of give a gist of my dates and kind of combine them into this because that was when it happened. This tells me when, this tells me what they did, and this tells me like why. Now, for our text dependent questions. What is the main idea of serving the cause? So I'm actually going to use a couple of things to help me figure this out. I'm going to use, of course, our text, but I'm also going to look at my already created 4-square model. So I've already identified some key details from our text that tells us more about the text, like in who, the when, the where, and the why, and the what. So I said that Sybil Ludington was a messenger for her father's men. I also wrote down that Deborah Sampson served for a year and a half after being discovered by a doctor. And I also noticed that the text was written to inform people about how women served in the war. And notice how a lot of my information also got from the title. The title gives a lot of clues about what the text is mainly about. All right, this organizer is also a great tool to use to help us identify the main idea of the text. Remember, main idea is what the text is mostly about, and we get that from key details. So let's identify some details from the text that are important to help us figure out what it is mostly about. So again, I found that Sybil was a messenger for her father's men in 1777. I also learned that Deborah Sampson again served for a year and a half in the war after she was discovered by a doctor. And then I also saw that women were not allowed to serve in George Washington's Continental Army, but evidence shows that at least four women became part of the fighting force. And this is a direct quote from the text in that first paragraph that we digested. So I put it all together. Notice that my gist is also kind of like my main idea, but I added a little bit more of the details. During the 1770s, women served for a cause in the American Revolution, even though they weren't allowed, by disguising as men, delivering messages and fighting in militias. Notice it has what it's mostly about, not just the smaller parts, but I did include some key details. Now I can add that to my graphic organizer. So take a minute to pause and add our main idea to your four square model. When you're ready, press play. For independent practice, you are going to read the next section in our DCPS packet called Aiding the Cause. You can answer the following questions. What is the main idea of the text? And then I want you to underline a detail from the text that best supports your answer to question 1. Here is our exit ticket. It is another text about women and how they were fighting and helping with the war. This one's about Abigail Adams, called A Quiet Leader. I want you to read the text to yourself, and then I want you to answer the following question. It says, read the second paragraph. What is the main idea of that paragraph? Highlight the main idea using a pink highlighter. If you don't have a highlighter, you can underline it or simply use your finger. Find two key details that support the main idea. Highlight the key details using a green highlighter. Again, you can just use highlights if you want to differentiate the main idea from the key details, or you can use a star or underline, or just use your finger. I've already given you one key idea, one key detail. You must find the other two and then complete your main idea. When you're ready, in the next 10 seconds, I will show you your answer so you can double check your answer. You can pause here. When you're ready to see the answers, resume. Okay, here is our answer. The main idea is that Abigail supported the Patriots through her actions. We have the who, we have the what she did as well, and we combined our key details to support it with our main idea. So that's it for today. Again, follow me on the Excel webpage to get more information. Stay connected with On the Mind, and I will see you guys soon.